about the food and how important it is for them to, I don't know how to state it.
No, that's actually a great question. Is there any way to educate your clients on the nutritional value of the food they eat and how it actually affects them? I would say the more that you learn, the more you can discuss it with them and talk to them about it. And keep in mind, if someone has an impaired sense of taste or smell, and they can't do a lot of things that they used to be able to do, and especially if you have like a guy, and he raised his family, he was a man, he took care of his wife and his children, the home that you're taking care of him in is the home that he purchased or built, and now he needs someone to come and help him with everything, and he can't do 90% of the things that he likes to do. So one of the things that he can control is his enjoyment of certain foods that maybe remind him of times that he really had fun, or he might just like it. And he is a human being with his own rights to make his own decisions. So if he is bound and determined to eat food that's not good for him, that is fully within his right. But it's also within your right to talk with him about nutrition, but then you have to respect the decisions that he makes, and you're stuck doing some of the cleanup job of helping him then when he doesn't feel well. However, if it is affecting his health, and you know it will be, I mean, when I was in that situation, I would talk with the family members. I'd have to talk with my superior first to say I'd like to talk with the family members about this, or the family members would come to me and say, what's going on? We found all this junk food in Dad's refrigerator. I was like, yeah, well, let's talk. So, but you have to, it's a fine balance between caring for them and respecting their legal rights. And talking with them so that they have information and letting them know you care, and not nagging them or making them think that they're not their own human being. Like, their humanity is equally as important as their physical well-being. But it's hard. That's hard.
It's hard because it's a matter of authority, and usually when you help them, you basically do what they want you to do. In terms of giving them the care that they need.
Right.
So I think it's hard for the caregiver to be the dietitian.
Oh, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. And some of this is going to be beyond your ability beyond everyday management. And this leads to the next page, which is this food that's unhealthful. How does it affect our client's health? Well, even when you're very elderly, you still have to worry about your bone health. You don't want your bones to be completely depleted. I mean, you guys know when someone breaks a bone, they don't necessarily ever recover from that, depending on how strong they are. Once they go to the hospital for that, it's a slippery slope for them. So maintaining bone health is really, really important. So what you can do is talk with them about, okay, you want to eat this stuff, but I need you to eat dark leafy greens and drink milk because we need to keep your bones healthy. We need to keep them strong. At the very end, I will talk a little bit about bone health. They'll become malnourished if they don't eat the nourishing food. So if they are completely obsessed with the fact that they're going to eat this other food, then maybe it's a trick. Okay, you're going to eat that, but you also have to eat this or you're going to get sick. And we don't want that. You have me here to keep you healthy. Have this healthy and then have this stuff and I'll turn my back and pretend I didn't see it. But if you're going to eat that, eat this first so I know that my job is done. And it's amazing how many people will work with you on that. Oh, I just want one cookie and then I'll have dinner and then I'm going to dive into the bag of potato chips. And of course, if they don't eat healthfully, they'll have greater intestinal problems and digestive problems. And if they have digestive problems and they don't sleep well, and they have, bathroom problems, so eating healthfully affects their everyday life. They don't want to spend 3 hours in the bathroom in the middle of the night when they're supposed to be sleeping. It also affects their immune system. If they don't have the nourishment they need, they don't have the immune system they need to keep their health up where they need it. Also, it's the nutrition that they eat that keeps their blood oxygenated and flowing, because they're not doing a lot of weight-bearing exercise generally. They're not going out running 10 miles a day and then pumping the irons. So they're very dependent on eating a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables to keep their blood oxygenated and keep their brain working. So if you tell them things like that, it might help. And you know what, I'll be happy to make a little sheet, a cheat sheet for you that you can show them. Chef Bonita says.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that would be great.
Sure, I'll be very happy to do that because you're not going to remember all of this. You know.
Yeah, like you said, I need to tell you the example of our patient. Some of them they don't know because our patient, when we get her the first time, she didn't take breakfast.
Right.
The family told us, don't wake up her, she need to sleep. And the nurses came and gave her like more than 10 pills a day in morning. And she will throw up all
She
day.
had no food in her tummy.
All day. If she wake up afternoon, you give her lunch, she will throw up everything, dinner, everything. And one day I tried to give her breakfast. I told her, please take, before you take your pills, take something. And we tried, like 1 week, she stopped to throw.
There you go.
Yeah. Now she's okay, she doesn't vomit anymore. Maybe that's why she was.
Absolutely. A little food in the tummy goes a long way before you put meds in there. That's very observant and caring of you. Some other signs of people who eat food that's not as good for them, and this is a great thing for you to tell your junk food loving fellow, is if you don't have the nourishment, then you're not going to have the energy you need to enjoy your day. You're going to be a little more sleepy, you'll have to sleep a little more, you're going to be a little more grouchy. Everyone in this room, we've all experienced times when you haven't been able to eat and you've got a headache and you can't focus. Well, do your clients really want to be that way? And you could mention that to him. And also they end up getting symptoms that they think are negative health symptoms, but they're actually lack of nourishment symptoms. So, now how many of you do grocery shopping for your clients? Okay, a little bit. Some things to keep in mind is, it's not as big an issue, but think about what is the preserving agent in the food that you buy. Is it something fresh and you know it's going to go bad quickly, like fresh fruits and vegetables? Is it in the freezer section and the preserving agent is it's being frozen? You know, these are fine because the product they eat will be very natural. Canned stuff can have a little sodium in it, so if they really love their soft, mushy canned vegetables, you might prefer giving them frozen vegetables that you steam. Just check the sodium count, you know, or it might be absolutely fine. But a lot of the food that sits on the shelves at room temperature is food that you know if you made it yourself, it would be completely bad within a few hours to a few days. So make sure you look closely at the preserving agents for that food and see if there's a high level of sodium, high level of hydrogenated fats, high level of high glucose corn syrup. Because if someone is diabetic and they're watching their blood sugar, the food that's sitting at shelf temperature could be food that sort of shoots up their blood sugar a little bit. So just take a look at that. And also, like, do any of your clients like to drink soda? Oh, that is great. That's great. I had a ban on soda my last 2 communities. I forbade all soda except a little bit at the nursing station for when people had upset tummies. Yeah. How about coffee? How many of them like to drink coffee? Wow. Yeah. Wow. That is wonderful. Okay. Well, I was going to say you can try to keep them away from soda and coffee because it is a little dehydrating. There's no nourishment to it. But coffee isn't that bad. Your coffee actually has more of a bad rep than it deserves when it comes to geriatric care. It's much more hydrating than dehydrating. But if they have a UTI, then of course they shouldn't have it. But much, it can harm your bones a little bit because it doesn't help with the bone building. It's a little controversial if it actually damages the bone or just doesn't help with bone building. That's like, it seems like every month when I read my research, it goes in one direction and then the other. So it's not the healthiest choice, but it's far healthier than the soda.
But why shouldn't you have coffee if you have UTI?
Oh, because it, and here's what I'm going to say, I'm a cook. So I do know that it does not make it better and it does help inflame it a little bit. If they're just drinking only coffee, switch them to cranberry juice until they feel better. Do any of your people worry about the sugar level of juice or the calories? Oh, that's great. When they get older, they will. I have a question. Yes?
I ever read some material. I don't remember what kind of cancer. Usually the people drink a pot of coffee for each day. They usually have some cancer. I don't remember what kind of cancer.
I haven't read that, but I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll look into
Some people like
that.
coffee very much. Usually the people drink a pot of coffee for each day. Long time they grow some cancer.
That's interesting. I'll look into that. I hadn't read that, but there's a lot of research out there. And a lot of it, if it doesn't fit with mainline belief, will get pushed to the side. So much. Yeah. Okay, so I do want to talk briefly about bone health and calcium. So vitamin D is imperative for good health. And if your residents are getting outside regularly, they're getting vitamin D from the sun. At Chesterbrook Residences, I changed all the light bulbs in the dining room to full spectrum light bulbs. So even in winter time or rainy days or for people who could not go outside, they would get vitamin D from the light 3 times a day when they came into the dining room.
That is nice. Who did you buy those lights from? I mean, especially for older people.
Oh, no, we just got the Reveal, the GE brand Reveal lights.
Okay.
Any of the ones that say they're full spectrum, and there's a lot out there now, and some of them are long lasting. Some of them you can buy online much cheaper, but Giant or Target or any place you go, and usually they have a little rainbow on this picture on the side.
Oh, because I get the life saving, but I didn't know that you can get those type of benefits.
Yeah, it's huge impact. And it also helps with seasonal affective disorder, because if some of our seniors, they just get a little cranky or depressed, or they don't have their spunk in the long dark months of winter. If you change, you don't need to change all the light bulbs in the house, but the room that they're in the most, or if they have a reading lamp they're always sitting under, change that. It will have a significant effect. Vitamin D also helps with the absorption and processing of calcium to make your bones healthier. So that's another reason why it's really important. It helps battle osteoporosis and osteoarthritis, and it helps maintain some level of bone generation, even in the geriatric years. Weight-bearing exercise. When we're younger, we think of that as lifting weights. For people who are older, if they can get to a swimming pool and walk in if you have a rec center near you and they can go to a pool in the wintertime, and they just swim a few laps and then walk a few laps, that's considered pretty good for them. Going for daily walks around the neighborhood is great. People over the age of 65 build lean muscle mass much more efficiently than people who are younger. So so you think, oh, my person is very fragile, they can only walk a little bit. You start walking them, of course, if it's appropriate. And don't go against any doctors or whatever. If it's appropriate, you will find if you keep them exercising a little bit that they will increase their stamina and build lean body mass much quicker than we will. And then they'll start making fun of us. High protein and high sodium diet increases calcium secretion, which is another reason why you want to stay away from that other diet that we've been talking about all along, stay away from, because it's high fat, high sodium, high starch, high cholesterol. It hurts their bones. Greens, dark leafy greens and broccoli, steamed broccoli, and fiber. And a great source of fiber for seniors is just like brown rice, because it's similar enough to white rice. You can cook a big pot, stick it in the fridge, and then just pull it out and heat it as you need it. So you only have to cook it like once a week, really. Then it's right there and you've got your starch. These are great for helping with calcium absorption, maintaining blood sugar continuity, so it gets rid of any spikes. It helps with the whole digestion of all the nutrients. So as much as you can load dark leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and whole grains, fiber. Wheat bran at Chesterbrook, we would take flaxseed and we'd grind it up and then sprinkle it on their oatmeal in the morning. You can't get much of a better breakfast than that, a little fruit on the side. It's so easy to have a little bit of fresh fruit or even canned fruit. The only effort was making the oatmeal, and then we put the flaxseed. They were good for hours. It was awesome. So I have here a picture of some bones. I'm not sure how many of you know about bone growth or bone health maintenance, but because breaking bones is so key for our clients, I just want to review it quickly. The bone itself is not solid. It's very spongy, it's porous, and it's very, very soft. It's a